this evening done an hour, 20 minutes, an hour 30 with questions. We could be here longer if you have lots more questions. So you've been warned. But we will kind of pop through. There's kind of three kind of distinct areas in which we're doing tonight. They're relatively straightforward. There's nothing more complicated in it other than maybe the language. But once you kind of understand the scenario in your head, you'll see what it is we're talking about. Okay. So we kind of primarily look at it's a little bit more, not so much game management, but that's what it's kind of titled. We're looking at batted ball scenarios, whether a ball is a catch or no catch, and we look at the dreaded and beautiful interference and obstruction rules. All right. So that's primarily what we're going to look at tonight. So we look at batting ball scenario. So if you kind of thinking of a ball is hit, it either goes fair or foul. So it's either in play or the ball is dead. That's the scenarios in which we're looking at there today. So, and that's where it hasn't hit anybody. It hasn't touched anything. We could go back to last week when we were talking about have your game set up beforehand, that you have your foul ball line, your dead ball line, and you talk about that game management part is you don't need to do any of this stuff here today if you manage part of your field correctly. So as in, if you've cones marked out and you ask the teams in your pre-game, can you please at all times stay behind this cone? All right, keep all your equipment behind this cone. And then we get into, never having to go pull out the rule book or pull out the darkest part of your brain and kind of go, oh, what is this batted ball? It hit something or it has done something, or, you don't need to do it, but we'll run through it anyway. Okay, so scenarios. Okay, hitting a ball ball is hit and all of a sudden the ball is hit a second time. So ball is hit, pops up in the air and bat's still swinging around, and the ball is hit a second time by the batter in the box, right? So both feet are in the box. The procedure is a dead ball, it's a foul ball, and it's a strike, all right? Because it didn't give the opportunity for the defensive team to make a play in that ball, okay? So it makes sense that, we want to be fair to everybody, that if it didn't happen by accident, so the ball gets hit out in front, and then a batter runner, I have a bat in my hand, and I kick the ball or I hit the ball a second time, that's not fair for the defensive team. All right. So
both feet in the batter's box is a very important criteria there.
Just for this particular scenario. Okay. So we look at then second scenario. Have you got these? Can everybody see the slides? No. Massimo, people can't see them. I can't see them either. So I'm working from my own little notes here. So maybe if you can try and throw them up anyway.
Okay. So let me see.
So the second scenario is when you're out of the box. Okay.
Sorry about that.
It's okay. They're coming up now. Yeah, there we go. So the ball hits a loose bat in fair territory. Okay. So it's about three, 4 slides down. Next one. Okay. So, okay, we'll go on this one. So the ball hits a loose bat in fair territory, right? So fair territory is inside your diamond as such. The ball remains in play in fair territory. It remains live and no penalty against the batter. All right. If the ball goes foul, all right, it's a dead ball, foul ball, and a strike. So if it's, deemed to be kind of accidental, that the ball has kind of gone out, bat's gonna hit it, it hasn't passed anybody, it's still moving in a kind of trajectory, the ball remains in fair charge, remains live, no penalty against the batter, right? Because the chances of somebody doing it purposely is, minuscule. Does happen very occasionally, and we kind of accept that. Okay, next one. So the ball hits a loose bat in foul territory. So this is after you've taken a swing, you've thrown the ball back, and the ball lands in foul territory. It spins out, the ball is dead, it's a foul ball, and it's a strike. So it's the same as it being a foul ball. whether it hit a bat or otherwise. Okay. Next one, the bat hits a ball in fair territory. The ball is dead and the batter is out. Oh, I'll go back a second.
I think that would be if it's done intentionally.
Intentionally. Yeah. Just, we have a look at that.
Yeah.
Intentionally. Sorry, 1 second. I have an opportunity just to do something here at the minute. I'm sitting next to a radiator, looking next to the window, and my arm is on the radiator, and notice that somebody's put the heat on, so I just want to turn it off. I can do it on my phone. I'm beginning to melt here. So I am. Who turned the fucking heat on? It's done. It's not even saying it's on, so I don't know where the hot water's coming from. Okay, pardon me. Okay. Okay, so a loose batted ball, the bat hits the ball in foul territory. All right, so it's outside the field of play. There's no reason. The ball is dead. Any questions with that? It's relatively straightforward. If it's in fair territory and it's accidental, it's live, it's play. If it's outside that, it's a foul ball as regular. Okay.
The one clarification, if it was an intentional hit the ball in fair foul, then it's an automatic. So that's the intentionality of it.
That's the intentionality.
It's not an automatic out. It's just a batter out. That's it.
Just batter out, bang. Okay.
Automatic out would be a scenario where someone's spot in the lineup is empty. That's an automatic out. Otherwise, everything else is just an out.
Okay, so batter standing in the batter's box, the ball is hit, and we have a runner on first base. Okay, so we look at the diagram there. So first base, that's where a runner is. Thank you very much. If the ball passes, all right, so with 4 or 5 situations here, the ball passes a fielder untouched. Okay, so the first base defensive, the ball passes a runner, hits the runner who is touching the base. So this usually happens on third base. Somebody's line drive down to third base. You got a runner standing on 3. The ball hits the runner while they're in contact with the base. The ball is live and everything stays in play, except for maybe the runner on third base who took a whack off a ball either in the face, the chest, or the shins. All right. But if their foot is in contact with the base, they're not out and the ball remains alive. Okay. So it's that if the ball hits third base and there's no one standing on it, third base is part of the field and the ball can go foul or it can go fair down along that line, it's still considered fair because it has left the field of play. It has touched the infield before it has gone out. Make sense? All right. So that runner is part of the field and they're part of the base, and therefore the same rule applies.
Yep.
And they get hurt generally.
And that can happen, especially in third base, but sometimes happens at home plate as well.
Yeah.
An assist is thrown on home plate and it hits the runner when it's just about to touch the plate.
That's throwing. That's different. So we'll come back to just batted balls at the minute. Those that know Yun in TNT, big lefty hitter. I usually get number 9 or number 10 spot. I am a single base hitter at this stage, and I'm standing on first base, and here he is staring down the line, driving balls down towards first base. All right, and what any coach will tell: keep your foot in contact with the base, no matter what happens. All right, so that's a scenario. Maybe we'll carry through the rest of the scenarios. So if your runner on first base is chicken shit, takes his foot off the base, all right, it would all depend on where the first base person, man or woman, is on the line. Okay, so if you can imagine the line between first and second, if your fielder is inside that line, and has an opportunity to make a play in the ball, it's different to if they're outside that line and it touches the runner. So the ball touches the runner in this scenario. Okay. But if the player is inside the line, has an opportunity to field the ball, it's no penalty. If they're behind the line and the ball touches the runner, that runner is out and there's a penalty. Okay. So we'll run through those particular scenarios.
Yeah.
So the ball passes the fielder untouched. All right. So the defensive player is inside the line. It hits the runner off the base and no other fielder has an opportunity to make an out. The ball is live and the runner is not out. All right. Because the defensive team have had an opportunity to do that. The next situation. All right. So the fielder's beyond the baseline. The ball hits the runner. So the fielder has not had an opportunity to touch the ball or make an out, and it is deflected off that runner. The ball is dead. The runner is out, not out, and the batter is awarded first base. Right? Sorry. No, that slide is wrong, Massimo.
Okay, we'll tell Chris Moon about that.
Because the runner is out and the batter is awarded first base. Okay? So, let me read this again. So the next scenario is the fielder's beyond the baseline. An untouched ball hits the runner, touches the base. No fielder has an opportunity.
Yeah, so the fielder still has an opportunity to make an out. So there's no interference there.
So the fielder's beyond the baseline, all right?
Yeah.
An untouched ball hits the runner.
Touching base.
Oh, touching the base. Sorry. This is touching the base one. All right? So he's still part of the field. The fielder has an opportunity to make an out. The ball is dead. The runner not out. And the
batter gets first.
The batter gets first. Okay. That's not making sense to me. Okay. I'll come back to that slide. All right? Because I want to go through it again in my head because it's not making sense to me. Situation 4. So the fielder's beyond the baseline. So the fielder, an untouched ball hits the runner touching the base. So the runner is touching the base. No fielder has an opportunity to make an out. The ball is live. So that fielder is the same as the scenario we have on 3. So this is me standing on first base, Yun hitting the ball. I've trained myself to take the hit, but stay in contact with the base. I managed to kick the ball any way I want, I can, or I deflect it off my, super fast hands. And I remain part of the field. The ball is live and it's in play. Everybody runs around happy. Apart from me, because Ewan's chasing me down at twice the speed that I used to have. Okay. Scenario number 5. So the fielder's beyond the baseline. An untouched ball hits the runner off the base. The fielder has an opportunity to make an out. The ball is dead. The runner is out, and the batter is awarded. So I've stepped off the base on first base. I've made contact with the ball. The fielder has not had an opportunity to make a play. I'm out, and the runner gets awarded. So there's no double play scenario here. Okay.
So like Paul was saying earlier on, at the end of the day, one of the underlying criteria that we look at and we have to ask ourselves when we make that call is whether the runner is actually touching a base or not. Because if he's touching a base, like Paul said earlier, it is considered as part of the field. So there is no potential interference, and that means that the runner is not out. But if the runner is off the base, and then there is the potential of the interference, and then that means that the batter is out. The runner is out.
Okay.
Okay. So that probably makes more sense with the other slides now as to why the runner was not out, because in the other scenario, the runner was in actual contact with the base.
Okay.
In this scenario, the runner is not in contact with the base.
So this is a little coaching tip now for one of you people here. I'm not going to name which one it is, Andrew.
We're looking at you, daughter.
No, it's not daughter. All right. So if there's a runner, it's had a good hit, they're standing on first base, and the next batter is up, and just before the ball crosses the plate, the runner on first base takes a little extra step early, to try and get a jump on it, and the ball is hit down first base line, and the runner is already in second base, well out of the way. Would you see anything right or wrong with making a call in that situation? Amanda, Dave.
Good.
You say that again?
Okay, yeah. So Andrew's got a hit, and he's hit the ball down to first base. The next batter is up after him, and just as the batter is about to hit the ball hasn't crossed the plate at this stage. Andrew takes a little early step off and heads off to second base, and the ball is hit, just misses him, and caught by second base, thrown to the first base player, and the batter runner is out, the one that just hit the ball, and Andrew's standing on second base. Do you see anything wrong in that scenario?
The fact that he left before the ball crossed the plate.
Excellent. All right. So that's, as an umpire, it's something you really want to watch out for, because Andrew can be a little sneaky on this one too. Okay. No, I had the opportunity to see Andrew, and it's milliseconds. He was gone out of the corner of my eye, and it's this is something I have to watch out for in future. And he didn't do it a second or third time because he knew I was watching. Okay.
You go as soon as the ball's hit. It's that split second that makes all the difference.
Oh, that's just that second. So Andrew, congratulations! You fooled me once, as George Bush said.
Yeah, and by the way, yeah, and there are situations like that we really need to be careful of, because team captains and players that they tend to appeal this type of situation very often.
Yeah, but
So
it comes in now that kind of go, if now the ball kind of came rumbling up towards first base, so it was an easy out for the first base player, but because that base runner was so fast in the first place, we get into that scenario. Was he behind the line? Was he in front of the line? So they're the little things you have to try to train your eye to when you got runners on bases. Okay, so it's understanding where the defensive players are at any given time, but you're primarily watching out for a couple of things during that situation. Are the infield playing out behind the line, or are they playing in? Okay, so if you see somebody encroaching inside the infield, right, you need to know where the runners are, and if and where they're going to be running. Are they running early? Are they running late? Are they putting themselves in an opportunity where, I'm going to dodge the ball? Okay, so what we see sometimes is it's a slow kind of trickly ball up towards, let's say, a second baseman, and there's a runner on first, and they're kind of running across. I'll slow down a little bit. I'll get in the way, but I won't get in the way. All right, that's where you need to be kind of watching out for. And we'll come back to it later on, that obstruction interference rule. Is there contact made? Is there no contact? Was anything said? Was he just being a dick? Or, that's the kind of situations where we need to kind of look at when we look at these batter runner situations. So you're always kind of watching out at this early stage of the batter runner. Who's on base? Where's the defensive team? And are they in contact with the base at all time? Because it's one of those appeal plays for somebody else. Fly ball, did they take a step off? Were they, there, or where were they? Are you watching the ball? Are you watching the catch? Are you watching the runner? So they're the three areas of your vision that you need to try to watch out for. You won't be able to see everybody if the ball's hit to right field. You won't be able to see that runner on third base. But it doesn't mean you can't take a glance every now and again when the ball is in the air. Have a quick glance. Are they still on the base? Great, they still are. Or they've crept off a little bit here now. If the ball's caught, are they going to go backwards, or are they going to move forward? All right, so it's that little bit of getting management. And it's a little bit of, it's a very easy out if you catch somebody, particularly new. And I say easy out, I say this as an umpire to other umpires. It's my job to get 42 outs as quickly as possible. Let's see you. Good luck. Bye-bye. Thank you very much. It's time I can go home now. All right. But I don't go looking for them. I look to find them wherever I can. And that makes the game kind of move, freely for both teams. I'm not penalizing one team or other. I'm looking to go, can I get an easy out on Andrew here next time when he takes an extra foot off the base? And he knows he's doing it. Or, it's that fine line. And you know what? Maybe today's line is a little bit too fine. All right?
Yeah.
Makes sense?
Amanda, you had a question about the runner definitions.
I sent it ages ago. I can't remember what
Yeah.
it was.
Okay.
Oh, I think was it how do we decide how are you determining whether the fielder has an opportunity to make an out or not?
Is the ball coming to them? Is the first thing.
Mm-hmm.
So if the ball is coming to them, and then we look at, did the ball touch a runner? Okay. So if the ball has been hit to them, did it touch a runner? If it didn't touch the runner, then they have an opportunity to make a play. If the ball didn't touch that runner, or if it did touch them, they've had no opportunity. If it didn't touch them, they have had an opportunity. It's as simple as that. Got it? If it touches the runner, they haven't had an opportunity to make a clean play on the ball.
Okay.
If it hasn't touched the runner, they have every opportunity to make a clean play in the ball. Now, if Andrew, or as a base runner, I'm only picking on you, Andrew, because you're just my picky one at the minute. I'll come back to Andrew and Dave in a little while. Comes along, it's a slow roller, and he stands in front of, Dave, who's playing second base, waiting for the ball to come. And he's kind of waving his arms around, kind of, oh, what should I do? Should I run forward or back? And Dave can't see the ball, but Andrew can see it. And he takes a little jump in the air and then runs on to second base. It might not be the sportsmanly play about it, but Andrew's done nothing wrong because the ball hasn't touched him. If the ball touches him, he's out. But the ball didn't touch him, and he's going to, I'm a little bit innocent. I don't know what I should be doing here. Should I go back? Should I stay here? They're all the excuses that could be given. But, again, the chances of that happen are 1 in 100 anyway. Dave?
Just to follow on the intentionality, how big of a play does that, like you're standing at first base, your foot is on the bag, but you kind of have a wide stance so that maybe it's a shot up the first base line that's not going to hurt you too bad, but yet you kind of stay on the base to get hit, because according to the third slide, if I get hit, it's a dead ball. He's awarded base. So where does intentionality come into play there?
It doesn't. So if the ball hits you accidentally or intentionally, once your foot is on the base, you're part of the field, you get awarded the base. If you're brave enough to do that, congratulations. You can have the base.
That's actually one of the big differences between the different codes of our sport, because in baseball, to a degree, you can actually see whether there was an intention to distract the fielder. Mm-hmm. And like the status that Paul just described of the player running around or not knowing what they do, that would be considered an interference in baseball, but not in slow pitch, because there isn't an actual act of interference, like the ball hitting the runner and impeding the fielder to perform that act. So that's one of the biggest differences in interference between slow pitch and baseball, is that in slow pitch the intention is irrelevant.
Yeah,
it's your judgment of whether the player could make a play or not. If you think that the player was making a play and could make the play, then there is an interference, and then the runner is out and all that. Yeah. If there isn't, the runner is safe and is fine with what we're
and
doing.
the rules are the rules are clear. What the rules are, it's not up to you. That's gonna somebody acting unsportsmanly, or they really don't know what it is that they're doing. So you could have somebody complete novice kind of waving their arms in the air, kind of going, oh, I really don't know, or you have somebody who's very experienced kind of go, oh, I'm going to make it look as if I don't know. We can't make that call. All right? The rule says if the ball hits the person, the runner, they're out. If it doesn't hit them, that's it. But if they make physical contact, that's a different rule, and we'll come to that later on. Okay? So, any questions on that? We'll leave that these kind of hit runners scenarios for a second. We're going to go into an infield fly situation. This is another, it's more complicated. It's more complicated than it is. All right, it's really, really quite simple, but it's being aware of what the situation is while you're standing behind the plate. Okay, so there's less than 2 outs. All right, so there has to be an opportunity to make at least 2 or 3 outs. All right, so it's double play. It's a double play situation, and it's how can you stop an easy double play situation by a new guy or girl coming up. There's runners on first and second, or first, second, on third, and they kind of hit this little boopy ball. It pops way up in the air, and a good defensive team will kind of go, "Oh, we've runners everywhere, so we just let that ball drop, and everybody's been forced to run, and we can go boom, 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 quick throw around the infield. Ball will move faster than runner, and we can get 2, if not 3, easy outs if there is a situation there." So it happens. The ball pops up off the bat. It spins up in the air. All right. And the umpire's call is when he or she sees a runner on first and second, or first, second, and third with less than 2 outs, it'll be called an infield fly. So it's a dead ball.
Infield fly, batter out.
Infield fly, the batter's out. All right. That doesn't mean as soon as that ball is touched or hits the ground, the ball becomes live, and those runners are allowed to advance at their own peril. Okay, so it's an infield fly, batter out, the ball is not dead. All right, so the ball remains alive.
That's why you don't raise the 2 hands. You only raise the 1 hand with the fist, because you're calling the auto, but you're not calling time. Everything that happens on the field is a live play.
Okay, and if runners are smart, they'll all stand on their bases, and then it'll be time. So that's the game management is calling time after the play is ended. You can make that decision then. Is anybody moving? Can we stand here all night? I'm going to throw the ball around. It's up to the runners to advance if they're going to.
Yeah.
And it's time. Next play.
And even in terms of the way you manage the mechanical call, at the very basic level is sufficient. Just put your hand up, infield fly, batter out very clearly, shouting along, and then let the play continue. When you can refine that call, if it's a fly that is going either towards the third base or the first base foul line, what you can do is you still do the same thing, fist up, batter out if fair. You can add if fair after you call the infield fly. That means that if the ball is going to be a fair ball, the batter is out. If the ball is going to be a foul ball, it's just a simple strike for the foul ball. Okay, that is a bit more advanced in terms of the signal and the mechanic, but with experience, you might look to refine that as well.
Yeah, so we're okay. All right. So less than 2 outs, runners in first, second, third. And what we might kind of do, any of you kind of see me umpires, a little signal that umpires will do between each other to remind that there's a little infield fly kind of coming on, and it'll be 1 out. So on this hand, right hand, and it's a touch down the left arm. I can't see myself.
Like this.
There's 1 out, no outs. And when that infield fly is over, it's a little reminder, you run the hand down the shoulder or down the arm. So it's off. It's on. The infield fly is off. Okay. But that's just a little reminder to myself. I'll do it whether I have an umpire partner or not. And you might sort of see then those umpires that are in the field, they go, oh, it's an infield fly on. And oh, shit, well, I shouldn't have told them. This way. But
and in fairness, actually, when you're not in an umpiring crew and you're doing the game all up by yourself, that is actually an easy mistake to make, that you forget to call the infield fly. It does happen. It happens frequently. A number of times happened to me, in even once this year. Very first game of the season, very first infield fly situation, I missed it completely. And I missed it because my mind wasn't switched on because I didn't signal it. So after I missed the first one, I just reminded myself just to do a signal to myself so that my brain was activated that I was in an infield fly situation. So,
So as soon as that ball
it
is
does happen. We can miss it. You know, it's not the end of the world.
So as soon as the ball is caught, touched, or hits the ground, the ball is live. Okay? Which brings us to the next slide to kind of go, what makes a catch or not a catch? All right? So a good catch, the feet of the body must be within the playing area. So they must be within live ball territory. All right? The touching the out of play line, so it's on the foul ball line, dead ball line, in the air after leaving a live ball territory. All right? So you can catch a ball in foul territory. It's still a good catch. All right. In the hand or the glove in its proper place. All right. So what does that mean? So you are able to catch the ball barehanded. Are you able to catch the ball with your glove hand? As long as it's in your glove hand. You can't kind of throw it up in the air and kind of then catch it. All right. So it must be in your hand to catch it. All right. And the fielder should have control. So none of this, oh, I have it, I don't have it, don't bump, bump. So it's a tight hold off that ball and not while jogging and release is intentional.
And the most common situation there is called the firm and secure possession.
Okay.
If you can remember that in your head, firm and secure possession, that's a criteria for catch, no catch.
Okay. And what's not a catch is a trapped ball. So what's a trap ball? A trap ball, we don't play with fences, but if you can imagine, a fence here, your glove hand with the ball in it, and it's pushed up against the fence. All right. So without that squeezing motion, which you're kind of watching, was it a squeeze in it? Was it a catch? If that ball glove was taken away, would the ball stay in the glove or would it fall to the ground? That's the kind of trap ball. And it's the same as against your body or against the ground. Okay. Hi, Adam.
Now, sorry. This is not a softball. Is a baseball, but it's a similar situation. Another scenario. Imagine this is the glove, okay, and you might have situations where the ball is sitting here, like this, trapped on the wrist, between the wrist and the chest, not in the glove. That is not a catch. That is the very definition of the trap ball. Okay? Has to be a firm and secure possession in the hands or glove. This one here is neither. It's not in the hands, it's not in the glove. It's a trap ball. And you think it doesn't happen? I probably called about 4 or 5 of them in about 2 or 3 years already. Okay.
So both feet must not have touched the outside of the dead ball line before the catch. So if you can think that your dead ball line is on the side of a ship, right? So if you have 1 foot on there, that you're not your foul ball line, your dead ball line, you're on a cliff edge. So as long as you have 1 foot, and you're clinging on to some sort of ground and you're able to hold the ball, that's fine. If you fall over that line and you fall off the edge of the ship or fall down the cliff, that's kind of considered a catch and carry. So you've carried the ball out into dead ball territory, and then we award 1 base for the runners that are on the field. So the catcher, the person, the defensive team who's caught the ball, took the ball out of play. Intentionally or unintentionally, it doesn't matter. But as soon as they left the field to play with that ball, the ball is dead. Time and all the runners are awarded one base from the time of that ball being carried out. Okay, doesn't happen very often. All right, but you can imagine a deep fly ball to left field. It kind of has one of these curly arcs, you know, one of these ones that curl around the base, and the fielder is standing on the line and runs over, catches the ball, and with his or her momentum in that, they go out into dead ball territory.
And it doesn't have to be necessarily a jump. 99% of the time actually happens with the catchers catching the ball and literally running out on the dead ball area by momentum alone. They're not doing it on purpose. They just cannot stop themselves.
Yeah, again, it be any fielder. So I pick it out at left field, or Massimo says a catcher, ball pops up behind him or her, way up in the air. They catch the ball in foul territory, and then their momentum carries them into dead ball territory. And you've got runners, so the batter's out, but what do you do with the runners that are on the field? They get awarded one base, right, from where they were in the field. And
it is one ball and not one base and not two, obviously. One base always.
Always one base for a catch and carry. Dave.
So the batter is out, but the base runners who are currently on are awarded one base.
Yes.
Okay. Yes. If there are runners, obviously.
Okay. Got that one? Interference and obstruction. So
you have any questions so far before we go into the marvelous world of interference and obstruction?
I'm trying to make this as long as possible. So Max, you mentioned so if the ball was caught like that and then trapped. That is not. But as soon as they pick it up with the hand to get
absolutely at the moment that the ball is in the hand or glove,
right,
is a catch. Until then, it's just a trap ball. Okay. So if I do this, that's a catch now.
Right.
It's not catch now, but if I roll it and pick it up and I have it in my hand, then that's a catch at this very moment. Okay.
And then for, say you catch the ball, but then you're trying to, where does transfer come in? Where you catch it and you're trying to throw it in and it's kind of that one motion. Do we account if you have control of it and transfer?
That's the momentum thing. Obviously, when you're catching the ball and you wobble it, that's not firm and secure possession. When you're catching the ball and then you pull it out, there's no wobble there. You're just literally yourself pulling it out. That's your lack of skills. There's nothing to do with a catch or not. It might delay you to make the out, but it doesn't affect the catch. Make sense? Amanda, you look like you're not making sense of this.
Can you say that again?
It looked like you maybe not making sense of this. Is that okay?
No. Can you say it again?
Okay. So there's a couple of situations. Obviously, that situation we're talking about is that if you have the ball like this, that's a trap ball because it's neither in the hand or the glove. At the very moment the ball lies in the hand or the glove, that's when it become a catch. And that's important, especially when you have situations of close calls, let's say at first base. If the runner crosses the plate while the defender still had the ball like this, that's not an out. But if the defender had the ball here before the runner crosses the base, then that's an out. Okay? So it makes a difference, and that's why we need to work for these kind of details. And believe it is controversial because some people will think that that's a catch. And then we'll have to tell them, no, it's not.
But it becomes a catch when the ball goes into their hand or their glove, right?
Hand or glove, that's absolutely essential. Firm and secure possession in the hand or glove. Anything else is not a catch.
But if they cross first base plate before that happens, they're safe.
Of course.
But okay, so if the ball goes up high in the air, not an infield fly, out to the outfield, up in the air, up in the air, up in the air, really, really fast player, runner gets across first before that ball comes down to be caught, are they still safe?
Absolutely safe. Yeah.
No, they're not.
No.
Hold on a second. Sorry. If it's caught on the fly, absolutely no, that's fine.
Yeah.
But that's not what we're talking about right now. We're talking about like a catch, like if I throw the ball in first base and the first baseman has to make a catch to make a run it out.
So it's not a hit ball that's caught. So the ball's been hit to the shortstop, and the really, really fast runner is going up to first base. The ball hits the shortstop throws it to the first base. And it's in the, did he or she catch it as the defensive first, or was it a bobble there? And at that bubble time, the runner has hit first base. That runner is safe because there's no control of the ball at that time. It's in between glove, or it could be kind of caught against the body. If it's not in the glove or in the hand, it's no catch. And that runner running up is safe.
So that's off a thrown ball, but a batted ball.
A batted ball, yeah. It's way up high in the air, and a really fast runner is standing on first base by the time the ball is caught. Doesn't matter, you're out.
That runner is still out, obviously.
That same scenario with a trap ball. Off the bat, to the outfield. It doesn't touch the ground, doesn't touch off anything else. Kind of gets trapped in the glove in a weird position.
Right, but then it's no catch.
Yeah, okay.
Ball is live. It's just no catch. Ball's live.
It doesn't become a catch when they put it in their hand or their glove.
Exactly. So in that scenario, sorry, I thought we were talking about thrown ball, but in a fly out scenario, okay, you have two situations there that can happen. Basically, let's say the trap ball scenario here. So at that point, once the runner, let's say the runner crosses the base, you have two situations that can happen really. One is the fielder makes a legal catch. In that case, the runner is out. Okay. The other situation is the ball is dropped on the ground. Then that's a live ball. That's a hit or an error by the defender, depending on who's scoring the game.
It's just no catch.
And there's no catch. Ball is live, and whatever happens on the field happens on the field. If the player is made to be out in some other way, absolutely fine. But if it's not, the ball is live because it's a dropped ball. It's never caught.
Okay. I have another question.
Good.
Sure.
So same kind of situation. Ball gets hit, outfield. Player catches the ball but brings it into their chest. Caught ball, or they've used something else to try and hold the ball in place?
They've caught it. They haven't dropped it on the ground. It's a catch.
Scooped it but brought it in. It's okay?
Yeah. That's a kind of basket catch, body catch. That's okay. Because the ball hasn't hit the ground. As long as they've control of it. And again, you're in at home plate. They're all the way out there. Now, if they want to throw the ball back, and if they haven't had control, the ball's going to hit the ground somewhere. Okay? If it hits the ground, it's a no catch. If they kind of lose it on transfer, that's where you need did they have control of it at any stage? And was it lost on transfer? It was a catch. You lost it on transfer, no out, ball's still live. Okay.
Okay. Andrew, you okay? Any questions? Good. David?
No.
David, good.
Just the last quick infield fly.
Yeah.
Would we roughly say 5-10 meters past the baseline would be
There is
technically?
no such a thing.
No,
There's absolutely no
so
such a thing.
Yeah. So there's a very good and something that didn't actually go through. All right. So the ball is the infield fly is called as the ball hits the top of the arc. All right. So that infield fly, it's an infield fly ball that could be easily caught by your infield in their normal infield positions. Okay. So if it's an infield fly and it's pops straight up in between the catcher and let's say the pitcher, all right, the ball could be easily caught by either of them if they manage to take a couple of steps forward. Even if they don't catch it, it's still an infield fly, the batter's out. They don't have to make an effort. They can hear the call and kind of go, oh, leave it. But the ball is live as soon as it touches the ground, and a smart runner will kind of go, oh, they're not going near it. I'm moving on. Okay?
As it happened
Line
yesterday.
drive. So a ball driven, more or less at pace on one line level is not an easily caught infield fly. It may be easily caught if it comes straight at my glove at speed, but that's not giving an opportunity for 2 or 3 runners to advance. And if it's kind of, oh, it's easily caught, but it's 5 feet behind your infielder, well, maybe it's not easily caught by an infielder, therefore it's not an infield fly.
Yeah, I know we had a couple times where infield fly, I was playing shortstop, infield fly was called, and I'm hoofing it to the outfield, still didn't make the catch, but they called infield fly. And it was kind of like, maybe you shouldn't have called that
So
one.
there's no measurements. Forget about the 5, 10 feet, 15 feet. There's no
That's
such
why
a
I was
thing.
just using that as a guide. So it's
Yeah,
basically,
but
if
That
the
is one
player
of the
can make a
urban
good
legends
play.
that goes around the sport. Oh, you have to be such a distance. No, has to be a reasonable expectation for the fielder to make a catch. Now, if you remember last session, we had 2 guests from the UK, Pete and Chris Moon. Chris Moon is actually Softball Europe's chief trainer for the umpires. And Chris himself actually 2 years ago, while the training I was there, and we actually went through this exact rule. And what he said at the course was, has to be, the key criteria is not how long the fly is going, but how easy the fielder can make a catch. That is your guiding principle. And he said, if you really want a quick tip, is he teaches his umpires in the UK that if the fielder can see the ball in front of him, there is a reasonable expectation to make a catch. And whether the fielder is 5, 10, 15 meters or 20 meters away from that base, it does not matter. If you're calling an infield fly because you thought that the fielder could make a catch, that's an infield fly. That's it. That's all you need. You don't need distances. You don't need the tape measure to calculate how far the ball is going. And in fact, actually, you go back to baseball for a second. Famously, World Series, I think it was 5 or 6 years ago.
Just give me a minute.
There was go ahead. There was an infield fly call for the Yankees, in favor of the Yankees, where Derek Jeter famously caught the ball. It was almost in left field when he caught the ball, and everybody was raging about, oh my, it was so long, it was so distant. Doesn't matter. The umpire called the infield fly, and that was an infield fly. And so, any other questions on this? No? Okay, I'm gonna pause this recording for a second.
Runner again, and I'm running towards, at speed, going, ah, making as much noise as possible to that second base, man or woman who's trying to pick up the ball, and I go, ah, in their face. That's hinders or confuses a defensive player. All right? That's interference. They're interfering with the fair play of the game. Okay? Mm-hmm. So it's a dead ball, call for the judgment. That runner's out. You've interfered with the flow of game. All right? So let's have a look at the interference, let's say, a batter can do. All right? So a batter crossing from one box to the other prior to the release of a pitch after the pitcher is set. Hi, Patrick.
Hi.
How are you? We're just about starting interference. We've lost Massimo and our slides.
No, Massimo's back.
Oh, you're back. Oh, you're back. All right. And he's got the slides up and running.
I love interference. Good.
Great.
Sorry I'm late.
We've heard that about you. We won't tell your wife. Okay. So batter's interference. Patrick standing in the batter's box. Dave is pitching, just about to release, and all of a sudden, Patrick jumps from one side of the box. I think I'm going to switch hit here. All right? He's hindering. All right, that's interference. Is that an out? Is that batter out? What do you think?
Out.
Patrick, I wasn't asking you. I was asking Dave, Amanda, or
I
Alan.
would have said out.
Yeah, because why? Remember we talked about there's always an out. If there's interference, there's an out. Now, if they're kind of going, oh, I usually switch hit and I don't really know, that's your call. All right. If the batter is hindering the catcher from making a play, a swing, ball pops up in the air, and as a batter, I'm kind of go, oh, I'm going to take a step back and I'm going to bang into, the catcher. That's interference. That batter is out. Okay. Throwing the bat to prevent a double play. All right. Don't see it all that much, but again, the ball is hit to the pitcher, and the ball is out there in front, and I go, oh, I got an opportunity here to throw the bat. I'll be out, but let's say I might stop the runner coming in from third to be out as well. All right. So there's always an out, and the runner close to home in that instance is out.
And the batter can be an hindrance also by standing where it is.
Yeah, just
if that's where the play is
getting out of the way, purposely not moving. Right, so you don't have to move into it. You just kind of go, oh, no, if the ball is in that vicinity. Okay.
You can be interfering by just absolutely doing nothing and stay where you are. It doesn't mean that you're not interfering with the play.
Okay. So, batter runner. So, batter runner. What's a batter runner? Somebody who's made it to base, first, second, or third. All right. And if that individual runs outside the 3-foot baseline, so it could be to avoid a tag. It could be to, distract somebody else, change your line. The batter runner running outside the 3-foot line that they have chosen to run between bases to interfere with a fielder attempting an out at first. All right. Touching the white portion and crashing into the first baseman during a forced play. Okay. So that batter runner always has to go.
I actually called that one yesterday.
Good. All right. So let's get it right what it was first. So the batter runner hits the ball up towards second base. Second baseman picks up and throws to the first baseman. And in the meantime, that batter runner then bumps into the person on first base, to stop them, catching the ball. That's interference with play. Or going for the white part. Don't even have to touch them, but they can run close enough to them that they're a distraction to them. They haven't touched their own base, they're out. Okay?
No, and David, just to go back to the original question of intention or intentional, the call I made yesterday on this interference on the batter runner, because the batter runner literally took the inside path to the base, and he basically was running across the first base on the white part. He never touched the white part, but he was close enough to the first baseman that the person first could not make a play. So that's an interference. The reason why that happened is because the runner itself was probably the first game he ever played a slow pitch, ever. And he wasn't an experienced player, so he didn't do it with any intent or malice. But still, that doesn't count on interference or obstruction. You did it, that's it. I explained to him afterwards what the rule is, and he actually was very happy that I took the time with him after the game to explain that rule. And he understood, he had no problem with it. Even the coach, very experienced player, absolutely agreed with the call. So there was no controversy, but it does happen whether you're a newbie. And that's why Paul was already saying that as well earlier on. You can have rookies that have no skills and veteran players that they do it on purpose. Mm-hmm. But they're still doing it, regardless of the intention. So that's why we don't look at intention in interference and obstruction calls. We look at what's actually happening and if there's an hindrance to the play or not.
Okay, so let's look at we've done the batter runner. All right, so now somebody has reached first base, they're on first, second, or third. All right, so if a runner then wants to interfere with a fielder trying to field the ball, okay, so it's like that, the batted ball. So if the ball touches them, they're out. That's interference. Okay. If they want to try and break up a double play, either getting in the way, again, the verbal, the physical distractions.
You take it on the chest as a runner. That's an
The
interference.
runner is out and the following runner is out. If they're kind of doing, if your judgment is there, they're doing it to break up double play. All right? They kind of, I'll take the one out for my interference, but you can add on the other one because there would have been a double play if they hadn't interfered with that play. All right? Is out if intentionally kicks the ball which an infielder has missed. All right, so remember we had before the line or after the line? So if you deem it to be intentional that the defensive team has had an opportunity to play the ball and the ball then hits that runner. Remember we said that runner wasn't out.
Mm-hmm.
But if you deem it to be intentional, that they kind of go, oh, there it is, I'm going to kick it out of everybody's way, that's an out. They've interfered with a normal course of play. All right? After being called out or scoring, interference with a fielder making a play. All right? So the runner close to home is out. So after being called out, so somebody's crossed home plate, or they've been called out, and they then continue to hamper the game as it's flowing. You can't put them out because they're already out or they've already scored, but you put the runner close to home out. So there's always a penalty for interference. It might not be the person carrying it out, but somebody's going to be penalized.
And one of the most common situations always described in regards to this is the guy, for instance, running towards plate, he gets out on the force and then accidentally bumps his shoulder against the catcher and then asks him to apologize. Is clearly interfering because he's putting the player in a position not to be able to make another play if he needs to, because he's hugging him and shaking hands and all that sort of stuff. So you need to be careful for this type of situations that sometimes friendliness is actually on purpose done to interfere with the play.
Okay. And then crashing upright into a fielder when he has the ball. So shortstop standing on second, Amanda. You may be called the second base person, man, woman, but second base belongs to the shortstop. Okay? Every shortstop will tell you. All right, Dave? That's it. Okay?
I learned this yesterday.
Mine.
So Andrew is the runner. Amanda, you're defensive on second base. Dave, you got the ball on 3. Andrew's running from first base because he left early. He's coming along and he gives you a big hug. Oh, don't throw the ball, Dave. Thanks very much. Don't get the double play. All right? Crashed into you rather than sliding in. Andrew loves sliding, but in this instance, he didn't slide. He kind of crashed into you, made you drop the ball, send you up in the air. Amanda has to pick up the ball, kind of, try and get it out here somewhere. So Andrew's out as the runner, all right? And the player is ejected if interference was flagrant and kind of, purposely done. All right?
Amanda, if that helps, I used to have a Cuban manager when I used to play baseball, and one of the things that he taught to the team when we started playing was the team has 2 chairmen on the field. The center field is the chairman of the outfield, and the shortstop is the chairman of the infield. If the center field calls it, the center field gets it. If the shortstop calls it, the shortstop gets it. There's no argument. There's no discussion. That's the way it is.
This I also learned yesterday.
Yeah.
So if you want to be the boss, Amanda, what Massey is telling you is move from second base into shortstop. Just swap.
Exactly.
I'm the boss around here. All right. So let's look at it if there's interference from somebody who's not on the field. So a coach, so that scenario earlier on where you had, whether he's coaching or whether he's on the bench and he's gonna purposely gonna make a noise. Yeah, Amanda.
Sorry. The player is ejected if interference was flagrant. What's flagrant?
Flagrant as in
very obvious.
Purposely done. Obviously purposely done. Yeah.
It's your unsportsmanlike foul in basketball, for instance.
Perfect.
What we used to call the intentional foul. Now
Okay.
That's basically the equivalent scenario in softball.
Perfect.
Okay. So if there's interference by a coach or a non-runner, all right. So this is, somebody keeping score. Somebody's out of the game. They're not, taking part in that game at that particular time. They're further down the batting order, and they're going to go, okay. So you can't put them out, but what you can do is put the runner closest to home out. All right. So you've got a coach on first base coach, and the ball's kind of popped up in the air, and he or she leaves their coaching box and kind of runs across in towards the field, or they're kind of going, oh, stupid catch, or you know what I mean? Like they're verbally or visually distracting to that part of the play. You can't put them out, but you can put the runner closest to home out. Okay? You have difficulty doing that, Amanda?
Just define verbally distracting.
Yeah. I kind of go, is it purposely putting that defensive player off from making a play? Now, if they're kind of go, what do they call it? What's the nice way of talking? Shy talking.
Trash talk.
Trash talk. That's it. Thanks very much. If there's a whole lot of trash talk going on, that's a little different. You have a go. Look, have a word. No, I'm not doing anything wrong, Blue. I'm just I'm a very effervescent, fun-loving, want to be part of the game sort of person. It's coming close to interference, and I may have to kind of go start ejecting players and putting players out because it is really distracting to the defensive team. Whether it's distracting to you or not, as an umpire, really shouldn't come into it. You're always going to make those calls, because you're 100% focused on what's going on, and you just have a little dial, you dial it back and kind of go leave them over there. But you're trying to make it fair for that defensive team. And we've all come across it. Maybe not so much in Ireland. I used to see it years ago in the UK, and you had some really, what I would call gobby catchers. I mean, they just talk. Yeah, good pitch, la 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 la, and they would just it was incessant, continuous, just blah 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 blah.
May I introduce myself? Gobby catcher.
No, like 100 times worse than you or me, Max. Believe me. I can say I can be a bit gobby at times as well. But is it being done? Oh, great! Just as they're about to hit the ball, that's when it becomes. Or if they're all quiet and then all of a sudden it kicks off as the ball is coming through the air to distract the batter at that time. That to me is
interference.
verbals. But if it's going all the time, you just sometimes just have to put up with it. Okay?
Yeah. And there's a limit. I mean, it in a sense, it comes from a tradition from baseball in a way, especially if you play like a position like catcher. One of your tasks is actually to get under the skin of the batters, because that will help your pitcher, especially if the pitcher might not be playing particularly well or might not be particularly strong arm or stuff like that. You want to try to get every single edge that you possibly can. Yeah. And whether it's fast pitch or softball, you try everything. It doesn't happen so much in slow pitch because
it doesn't happen so much here, But again, like you raised it earlier on, it's a really good question, and like it might not be intentional interference, but if you kind of deem it to be, you're interfering with everybody here now. It's not a pleasant game for the defensive team. As an umpire, you kind of go dial it back a little bit, or I'm going to have to start making penalties to your own team. You might not say it to the individual because they might be completely unaware of it, but you pull the captain over and kind of go, are you aware that this is going on at the moment? Oh yeah, we are. We're all aware. Well, it's your responsibility to keep him or her quiet for a period of time.
One of the criteria I personally use in the field is if it's actually distracting on the play at the very moment. Like someone shouting very loudly might distract people. There's been quite a few instances of that. If you're shouting on the moment the player is about to catch the ball and then the ball is dropped or you can't make, that's a clear interference. There's absolutely no argument about that.
Okay.
But if someone between plays is making small talk and trash talk, that guy can now make a catch to save his life, for instance, kind of thing. And the next play doesn't make a catch, that's on the fielder. That cannot be called an interference. Okay? You let people get under your skin, that's on you. You absolutely distract someone on the actual play, that's an interference.
Okay, so let's finish the rest of these interference. Like, and again, they're few and far between. They really don't happen all that often, but it's good that we can have a kind of chat about it. So you're interfering, with the offense, with the defensive team. All right.
And like I said, I think this kind of scenarios are much more likely to happen in a fast pitch code or a baseball code. They don't really happen that often in a slow pitch code.
I've seen the next one happen. Third base coach runs towards home plate, to draw the throw home. You know what I mean? So there's a runner on third, the ball's in the infield, and all of a sudden the coach takes off down the line to distract the shortstop who has the ball from throwing the ball to first base or something. All right?
Don't give David ideas.
That's as a coach you wouldn't do that. All right? Or one or more team members collect around a base to which a runner is advancing to confuse the infielders. The runner is out. So again, really big kind of game. The hit is really important. The coach is in the first base box in that line, and there's the team over that side. Big hit by the individual. The runs, it's going to score, and half the team come running up to celebrate with that, runner reaching first base. That's a legitimate way in which it could happen, or it can be done purposely. Kind of go, get out there, distract. Which one's the runner? Where are they? Who am I throwing the ball at? All right, they're interfering with that. Okay, there's another couple of scenarios that don't happen all that much. Spectator interference. We don't have all that many spectators, but maybe it could be somebody walking across the field with their dog. They could be deemed as a spectator interference. The ball is dead. The runner's replaced in where the judges would have been if interference had not occurred. Okay, that's the scenario in that. What do we do? So it's somebody has interfered that's not on the team. I can't put anybody out, but it's not fair on the where it was it. It's it. The runners are placed where the umpire judges they would have been if the interference had not taken place. All right, and that's a judgment call. How about umpire interference on a fair batted ball? Okay. So you're really being eager, you're getting out from behind the plate, and you make contact with the ball before the kind of catcher gets a chance to do it, or the catcher backs into you, and all of a sudden, there's interference. So the ball is dead, there's no outs, and the batter runner is awarded first base. Okay. It was not intentional, right? Because you are the umpire, you have no reason to be, intentionally interfering with the field of play. It's accidental, but you're going to make it fair for every ball is dead. The runner may or may not have got to first base. If I hadn't got it, we're going to award, the runner the first base.
Or one very easy scenario as well, if you're being as the field umpire instead of the plate umpire, and you get into the line of a line drive, for instance, or a ground ball, while let's say the second baseman or the shortstop is trying to make a play, then that's your interference right there as well as an umpire.
And the last one, the one that I love most of all, is big home run hit. Andrew's running around second, coming around third, and he slips and slides as he hits third base. And Patrick comes along, picks him up on the ground, and sends him on home. Not Patrick, because Patrick would know not to do that when I'm umpiring. Don't touch him. All right, and the ball's kind of thrown in, and Andrew crosses home plate, and that's it. He's safe. Right. In this particular scenario, the assisted runner is out. Okay? Because we've no idea where they would have been if they weren't picked up off the ground by the coach, and there could have been a play at home, they could have been tagged out. So because they were physically touched by that coach, the runner is out. Ball remains live in that situation. So it's not a dead ball play. All right. Where we've sort of seen this, and where I like to try and make sure we don't run into scenarios where we have coaches assisting runners, is sometimes big high fives kind of running around third base. Oh, great hit, well done, boom, 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 boom. They have touched them. Are they assisting that runner? Oh, maybe not. They give a little pat on the bum, but when does a pat on the bum become a little shove? To quicken that step up.
Yeah, I don't know what games you do, Paul. I've never seen that happen.
Yeah, but you like that's where
No, the high five happens.
Yeah, but
The
that's
high fives and home runs happens, but there's no problem there because it's a home run. It's not like you have to make a judgment call. So
well, again, it might not be. So just a piece of advice: if you see any of these high fives kind of coming up, it's an opportunity there just to remind that coach, if there's any physical contact, you are aware of the interference rule, don't you, coach? All right? That you're not allowed to physically assist anybody. All right? So that little pat or the little pickup or the little, it comes into that judgment call. You're removing yourself an opportunity for an argument later on in the game. Okay? So it's always been preemptive thinking about, what rule do I not want to get into an argument over? Okay? Or you've got, a very savvy coach on the other team who is very aware of coach assistant interference, and there's a little bit of a tap or a little bit of a, pat on the back as they're kind of passing third base. And the coach all of a sudden is in your face going to go, he assisted that runner in that instance. There should be an out there. Okay? And with the letter of the law, once there's physical contact made, intentionally or unintentionally, that's where we get into it. Was it intentional or otherwise? Okay? Okay, and interference.
all right.
So what
Questions?
is it? The interfering with the offensive interference is offensive, isn't that right? You've forgotten already. How are you meant to know it next week?
Because it's offensive to interfere. You already told us.
Yeah, interference is offensive.
Interference is an offense.
Yeah.
One thing there, I suppose, that was interesting. I think when you were umpiring ball when I played with Lucan, that they set out coaches' boxes at first and third.
Yeah.
And as far as I know, if you're base coaching, you're supposed to be in the box, and you have right to that box as the coach. So if you're in that box and feel like the third base, is running towards to catch a foul ball, the base coach doesn't have to get out of the way. It's not interference. They have right to that box.
That's not true, actually, though.
So with them purposely standing there, or do they have an opportunity? Do they kind of purposely stand there?
Well, they don't.
Away?
They wouldn't necessarily have to make room for the fielder to make a play.
Yeah.
No, I was still
again.
As where if I'm a catcher in the same situation in my box, do I have a right to all that zone? No, because I can, reach out of that. I can, be a hindrance within that space without, you know what I mean? And again, it comes into intentional or not. Yeah, I have a right to stand my ground. Absolutely. I absolutely agree with that. I'm in my box. And, but if I, was to take a step into it, oh, here's the ball, I'm just going to, or I have an opportunity to get myself the hell out of the way.
But I won't.
And I won't.
Yeah.
That's,
Yeah.
I suppose it's one of those, the sportsman thing to do is to get out of the way and let the fielder try to make a play. But
yeah, and then there's a danger as well. And this is the flip side of this. And Andrew, I absolutely agree with you. Is it better for you as a coach to stay still, or is it you to try and get out of the way? By getting out of the way, sometimes you can get yourself in the way.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So it can come down to a very.
To me, it's quite straightforward, though. Yeah, to me, it's a straightforward question of if you're hindrance to the play, you're hindrance to the play, whether you're entitled to that space of the field or not. So if you're a catcher and you stand in a catcher's box, you're a batter in the batter box, or a coach in the coaching box, you're absolutely entitled to that space. And there's no argument about that. But once the ball is live and in play, you need to get out of the way unless if you're potentially going to be an hindrance to the play.
Yeah.
Whether you're entitled to that space or not doesn't matter. If you're
But I think
distracting or hindering a play, you're hindering a play. That's interference. That's it.
It could be a case like of, you know, like if the third baseman runs towards the third base coach and bumps into them and then claims coaching interference, you know, and asks for an out, then I guess you'd have to make the call of
and that's where judgment comes to it. You know, what was there a need for a particular speed player to take that big of a curve or a big of an arch on the third base, or could now have slowed down a little bit and avoid a contact, for instance?
Yeah, I can't imagine it'll come up very much in Ireland or slow pitch, but it's more where you would see an actual coach's box. But it's just when I played at Lucan that they had set out cones.
Yeah, and as a coach, I'll always try and stay inside that box. But if I can get out of the way within that box, I'm going to do that. So maybe I have a right to that space in the box, but I don't have to stay still in that box. I can still move out of within that box and get out of the way.
And the box is pretty big for the coaches, by the way. So there's
so you don't have to stand in one corner of it, kind of there, run around me.
So the coach can move within a very big box and not be an hindrance and still be in the box.
Yeah.
You know?
You see a coach moving into, you know, a position where they're, you know, going to hinder the play, and they're arguing, well, I'm still in my box. Well, what did you move for? No, that is interference.
Amanda, it looks like you have a question.
I do. Damn face.
I can read you.
Similar to, so if a base coach can stay in their box and technically don't have to move, and
they're absolutely entitled to it, yeah.
Yeah, okay. So first base coach stays in their box, ball's kind of coming towards where that box is. I'm playing first base, I run to catch the ball, I lean on the base coach to give myself balance. Can you do that? And also same if there's a field umpire, because I have done it just in a game. I know it wouldn't be something that would happen often, but
you're touching umpires in the field, Amanda?
I have touched an umpire in the field to get balance to make a catch. Yep. That umpire is on this call. Just so you know. Is there any rule that says that if I use them,
no, they're part of the field.
Runner.
They're part of the field. As long as they're not, you know, causing an interference or obstructing you.
Yeah, you can use it.
It's like the base. If somebody kind of bumps into an umpire shouldn't be there. It's the umpire's fault. You know. That's the way I would look at it. Okay. All right.
And the same with the base coach.
You go lean on an umpire, push off against them.
In fact, it will potentially be an umpire's interference if you cannot make that play.
Okay. So interference, simple enough. You're interfering with, you know, the defensive team. Okay. Now, obstruction is somebody from that defensive team interfering with or obstructing the runner. We keep the language, you know, formal. Right? So, a defensive player impedes the progress of the runner while not having the ball in their hand, right? Not in the act of fielding a batted ball, okay? Making a fake tag without the ball, okay? In possession of the ball and pushing the runner off the base in an attempt to gain an out. All right, that's Dave. I've seen you do that a couple of times, Dave. No. In possession of sorry, you usually have the ball when you do that. In possession of a ball, but not in the act of making a play or running, on the runner, but intentionally impedes the progress of a runner who is illegally running the bases. All right, we'll run through that last bit again. In possession of the ball, so Dave shortstop in possession of the ball, but not in the act of making a play on a runner. All right, so the runner is on 3, going from 3 to 4. Who intentionally impedes the progress of a runner who is legally running the bases. So, not in the act of making a play. So, has I don't know. I can't think of a scenario. I'll come back to it. All right. I don't.
Possession of ball by 9 in the act of making a play on the runner. Intention impedes the progress of runner who is legally running a bases.
All right. That's giving the runner on second base a big hug and say you're not going anywhere. All
Yeah,
right.
that
You're
would,
not allowed to do that, Dave. Okay. That's obstruction.
yeah, it's the scenario that I was telling you earlier on about even the, the players hugging the catcher or the third baseman to say, oh, well, good play, well done. And maybe the guy had the chance to do a double play and it's been obstructed to do that.
Okay. So what's the ruling on it? Okay, so there's a delayed dead ball signal. So it's, left arm out straight. All right. So the protection is given to that runner. Okay. So batter runner hits, crosses first base, collides with second base person, not making a ball, just kind of dawdling around. A man just kind of go, I'm going to step in the base path of that runner and try and slow them down. Because the ball's out there, I'm going to, just get in the, make myself, a nuisance, get in the way, and there's some physical contact. All right. So the umpire will give a delayed dead ball signal, left arm out, to protect that runner, all right, that has been obstructed to the base where the umpire feels that runner would have got to by the time the play was made. Okay. If that runner then, if I put a delayed ball signal, that runner has bumped into Amanda and then hits second base and decides, oh, that was easy, I'm going to run all the way to third. The umpire, I don't think you would have made third, drops the arm. There's no verbal signal. The delayed dead ball is over and that runner is advancing at his or her own peril. Okay.
And the fact that there is no verbal cues there is extremely important because if you do give a verbal cue, you might be distracting the play on the field yourselves by confusing a defender, and the defender might think that you're calling a foul ball instead.
Really good coaches and really smart players will be looking for that. If there's any kind of blue, and it's a signal out. Yes, it's a delayed dead ball.
So just put your arm out, say absolutely nothing, and let the play run. After the play is finished, you call time and you make your rule. But do not spend your voice on that.
Okay.
Absolutely not.
Paul, do you want to say a little bit more about that 1, 2, 3, fourth bullet point there? I'm not sure it's entirely correct.
If impeded, the runner barges into infielder, then interference is ruled.
Mm-hmm.
So if impeded, the runner barges into the fielder. All right, yeah. So if you kind of see it as being purposely done, okay. If the impeded runner barges into the fielder,
but the fielder has to be
has to be making a play on the ball.
Exactly, not just any fielder.
All right, so that fielder must be making a play on the ball.
Yeah.
So is it interference or is it obstruction? It's that that runner between the is the defensive player on the line and hit by a batted ball, that kind of scenario. So same sort of scenario here. You've now got a runner on first base and the second base man is standing on the line making a play, and I'm now blocking. I'm impeding the runner. I'm blocking the runner, but I'm making a play in the ball. So if the runner then, as the ball is kind of coming through, makes contact with the second baseman,
you dive back into the fielder, then that's the interference.
All right. It's a difference between obstruction.
Can I just add to that?
Absolutely, go ahead.
I think there's a risk of not being quite clear enough here. If the fielder is making a play on a batted ball, they cannot obstruct. They have the absolute right to field the batted ball.
Yeah.
Okay. So what you're really talking about is where a runner has been obstructed and after that makes some move to interfere with the play elsewhere.
Yeah, maybe that's what the slide means.
I think that's what it means.
I took it
And
where
I
a
give
runner
you
is at
and I give you a
first.
scenario. I give you a scenario that actually happened a couple of times to me.
All right.
Is
Amanda had a question there first. Amanda.
yeah, just let me give this very quickly, and then we go to the question. But a runner is impeded by the first baseman because the baseman was just in the middle of his running path. It's running towards second, and then literally it stumbles as it stomps onto the second baseman that actually is trying to catch the ball. That is actually an interference.
Yes, it is.
Okay, because even though there was an obstruction by the first baseman, the runner is still making an interference on the second baseman.
Yeah.
So, and that's where that particular bullet point applies. If you have a situations where, yes, one fielder might be obstructing, but another fielder might have been interfered with as a result of that obstruction.
Yeah.
And it does happen. It happened to me quite a number of times in my career.
Amanda.
Yeah, just on that, what if the fielder is not actually fielding the ball? Again, sometimes base runners run quite wide. So if the ball has been batted out to left field, your second base is looking over that way, but pretty much knows that the ball's not coming towards second, so it's just kind of stepping out of the play. But actually, guy rounds first really wide and runs into you. But like you're not near that line. You're not. What is that?
Yeah, you are obstructing that runner as a second baseman.
Absolutely.
If you're
Absolutely.
if you're looking out to the field, you have a responsibility not to be in that base runner's path, whether it's out wide, single lane, double, inside, outside. A smart runner may see you there and go, oh, boop, boop, boop. And I could have got to third. And if the umpire switched on and kind of go, yeah, you could have got to third, protected all the way.
Yeah. It's one of the basic requirements of every fielder is to be especially aware of his surroundings. Is any good coach, any baseball or softball coach that's worth his salt teaches the fielders to be aware of the runners at any given time and not to get in the way.
And it might not be second base.
It's one of the fundamentals.
A lot in first base.
In first base happens almost daily.
Yeah.
Almost every week you will have a situation where the
I get
first
that.
baseman.
Like what you said there, I get it's a basic requirement to define basic. But if you've got to step back away from what a normal running path might be, and even giving a wide running path, but you still find that this guy's just totally overrun and coming really wide.
But the runner should stay within 3 feet of the running path. So if you're 6 feet into right field and they hit into you, then that's their fault. But if you are close within 3 feet of the bag and they hit into you, that's your fault.
Yeah, but let's be very clear. You're right, Andrew. 3 feet of the running path, but the running path is not base to base. It's from the line that the runner is taking.
So that could be 6
because
feet.
I think there's always a bit of misunderstanding on this and a bit of miscomprehension on this. The running path is not base to base. It's the line that the runner is taking. So if the runner is taking a wide arch on the bases, it's absolutely entitled to that, and that's his running path. And that's why you have to calculate your 3 feet in and out. It's not the straight line from one base to the other. I think that's something that always causes a bit of discussion and miscomprehension about this.
But I suppose as long as there's intention to go from base to base, like you wouldn't go out and bump into the right fielder and be like, oh, my base.
Oops, yeah, you're in my way.
Classic case is a guy overruns second and is about to be tagged out, and I start racing towards third. That running path now is from the point where he starts running to third base. It's not from second base to third base. So that runner is not out of anybody's path because he's taking a line to third. That's his running path now. If he goes out 3 feet on that line, then he's out. But if he stays on the line towards third, that's safe. And if he gets to, obviously, provided he gets to third without being tagged.
Okay.
And there's always a little bit of controversy and discussion. Captains appealing, oh no, but he went out of the base. He's out because he went off the base. No, nobody tackled him. He took a line and he ran to third, and he got to third safe.
And that baseline can change if the runner was to stop and maybe take a step back. Oh, the ball's caught. Oh, it's not caught. I'll take a step back, and then I'm moving forward in a different line. All right. So
the only runner that cannot take a step back, you know which one runner it is? Is the batter runner from home to first base. You cannot take a step back on that run.
Yeah.
Other than that,
yeah,
you can adjust your baseline.
Yeah. So as a defensive team, stay out of the way of that runner coming. There's no reason to be in their way. Walking in front of them, half touching them, impeding them, because that's what you are. You're obstructing that runner making a fair play. And it's like, let's say the very last slide that we have is that fake tag. So it's the shortstop, Dave, I pick on you again. Andrew's running around, a big deep fly ball to right field. I don't know how it happened, Andrew. You've hit first base, you're running to second, and Dave is pretending to catch the ball and put down the tag, slow Andrew up and force him into a sliding situation where he could have just kept running on to third. Okay?
That's a clear obstruction. There's no argument.
That's as clear as we can make it. It's going to go. There's an intention there to impede that runner. Okay. Don't have
distract
the ball.
him.
You're impeding the progress of the runner, and the runner has to either stop or slow down or slide. All right. So the signal is, delayed dead ball, left arm out again. The ball's still live. Okay. So the dead ball, if affected the runner, is put out prior to reaching the intended base. The awarded runner the base they would have reached. Okay. So you're protecting that runner with the arm out. All right. You're protecting to the base that you think that they would have reached. Now, if you reckon they would have gone to third base, you keep that arm up. All right. If that runner stops on second base and decides, you know what, I wasn't aware of what the umpire's call was, you don't award them onto third. You don't sort of say, oh, go onto third there now, honey. Off you go, Andrew. You did a great job. He obstructed you, so I'm giving you third base. That's not the call. So if he continues to advance, that's okay. He can stop. You warn the offending player. So Dave gets a warning. Dave, please don't do that again. It's causing obstruction to Andrew. Please stop. And if Dave then goes, yeah, okay, fair enough. I shouldn't have done that. That's okay. If Dave then kind of goes gobby and mouthy, what the F did I do? It's all the more reason to, not have a further conversation with Dave, because he's, been highly insulting to the official of the game. And if he's doing it on a regular basis, it's an ejection from the game.
Yeah, so I'm about to say that.
Okay. So if it's going to, sorry, shouldn't have done that. Sorry, Andrew, hope you're okay. But you know what? The umpire's awarding you third base there anyway. Okay, won't do it again. Or if it's done with the intention of causing somebody to slide unintentionally, that's dangerous play as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
And that's an ejection from the game. Okay.
Right.
And that's it for tonight on interference, obstruction, and batter runners and everything else. Who has lots of questions? None? Oh, it's great. Thanks very much. Amanda, go on.
I still have my original question, which I'll save till we're not recording.
We'll name names.
No, say, come on.
No, it's all right. We'll kind of come back because it's just going to cause a little bit of back and forth discussion on it. So that'd be good. Dave, have you any questions?
No, I think it's fairly clear. I mean, we've all played. These are all fairly. It's just one of those. You have to make the judgment with the information that you have in front of you, and then unless it's a blatant error, live up to that. Just own it. You made the call, and and go from there. And then
I think as one umpire said earlier on, we shall remain nameless. Umpires can and do make mistakes. So look, to err is human and all that. Yeah, and exactly say, if you make a mistake, own up. You got, yeah, bang.
Yeah.
Fine.
Put your hands up, and if you go back to the rule book, there are certain errors that you can correct on the moment. Some others you just have to swallow it and learn from it.
Okay.
You know, there are certain things, you know, strikes and balls, you call about 300 of them a game. You cannot be getting hung up on one call or strikes that you didn't call right, or a ball that, or your strike zone was high or your strike zone was low. You'll have to, you will learn to be consistent with your calls there, but you have to go with the knowledge that you'll never get 300 calls right of strikes and balls.
Yeah.
So some of them will be wrong. We live with it. You have another 40 or 50 calls to do on the fields in terms of out, interference, fair foul, that sort of situations. Be prepared. Read the rule book before the games. Something I used to do the first couple of years was, and I still do to this day, every now and then I pick up the rule book and I take just one rule. There's 5 rules in the rule book in slow pitch. So one rule is actually about 10-15 pages to read through. So once a week you pick a rule and you read through it. And every week, 5 weeks, 6 weeks, you have read the rule book already. And in a season, you probably read it 2 or 3 times. And the more you read it, the more you get comfortable with the rules yourselves.
Again, just with the language as well.
Yeah.
Andrew, any questions? Good, thank you.
You know, back calls happen. It's how you react to the back calls that matters, because some of them you can correct, and you should correct, and you should put your hands up or talk to the other umpire and see what the ruling should be, especially when there is a protest or an appeal or something like that. We're going to see it in the next section, what we can do in those situations. Others, you'll have to live with it, stick with it, and then learn from it. Next session, we're going to talk also to some extent about self-assessment, sort of a checklist of things that you can do to assess your performance after the game, so you understand what you did right, what you did wrong, and where you can improve upon. Because that's how
I'm really looking forward to the next session, folks.
And
well done,
Amanda,
Lewis.
Just very quickly, you were passing a comment about sort of basic skills or basic requirement I was mentioning earlier on. I wasn't mentioning that as an umpire perspective. I would say I would mention that more as a coach perspective. As a coach, I want to be my players to have awareness of what they're doing. Obviously, I understand that there might be different levels of skills, and that's absolutely fine. But as a coach, my aim is to improve the skills of my players. So when I teach about baseball or softball, I also teach about being aware of what's around you. And try not to get in, especially if you're defending, not to get in the runner's way is one of the first things I teach any players that comes my way. And David is the coach of our team, the Wicklow Wolves as well, and David does exactly the same thing. One of the first things that we teach after catching and throwing the ball is stay out of the runner's way. You know, so obviously different teams, different coaches have different styles. Obviously, that's just a general comment.
It's always a basic thing, but something that's basic in training is not necessarily basic when you're on.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, jeez, absolutely. Absolutely. But you see, it's basic to me in a sense that it's a primary focus of what we teach as coaches. And we teach it with intention of the players do it on the field. When they don't do it, then we follow up and we'll teach you some more until eventually it gets ingrained in the routine and in the player's mindset that eventually they will get to the point that they've been challenged enough times to do it that they start doing it themselves. I never expect a player to do everything right from the get-go. It's a learning process, obviously.
Okay, we're all finished, I think. So you can stop the session now. We'll see you all in a couple of weeks. Thank you very much.
Thank
Good
you.
night.